The fluorescent lights of my office bathroom seemed unusually harsh that morning as another wave of pain hit me. I gripped the edge of the sink, trying to steady myself. My hands trembled as I reached for my medication bottle in my purse, only to remember it wasn't there. Mom had made sure of that. "You don't need these pills, Emma," she'd said yesterday, dumping my entire prescription into the toilet. "It's all in your head. I'm doing this for your own good. I'm Emma Sullivan, 26, and I've lived with chronic pain from a rare autoimmune condition since I was 16. The medication wasn't just for pain, it kept my immune system from attacking my own body. But try explaining that to my mother, who'd spent the last decade convinced I was either seeking attention or developing an addiction." My phone buzzed. Another message from Mom. "You'll thank me later. These doctors are just taking advantage of you. Remember how strong you used to be?" Strong. I almost laughed. What she called strength was just me suffering in silence, the way she preferred. The way that made her comfortable. The dizziness hit suddenly, making the bathroom tiles swim before my eyes. I needed to sit down, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. The last thing I heard was my coworker Jessica's voice calling my name as everything went black. I woke up to unfamiliar voices and the distinct smell of hospital antiseptic. An ER doctor was standing over me, her expression concerned but kind. "Miss Sullivan, I'm Dr. Martinez. You had a severe inflammatory response. Can you tell me why you stopped taking your medication?" Before I could answer, my mother's voice cut through the room. "She's been taking those pills for far too long. I had to intervene. She's becoming dependent." Dr. Martinez turned, fixing my mother with a steady gaze. "Mrs. Sullivan, your daughter's medical condition is well documented. Stopping these medications abruptly can be life-threatening." "Life-threatening?" Mom scoffed. "She's just being dramatic. She's always been like this, ever since she was a teenager, always wanting attention." I watched Dr. Martinez's expression shift as she reviewed my chart. Her eyes narrowed at something on the screen. "Mrs. Sullivan, this isn't the first time your daughter's medication has been lost or discontinued without medical supervision. There are 3 similar incidents documented here over the past 2 years." Mom's face flushed. "I'm her mother. I know what's best for her." "What's best?" I finally found my voice. "Like when you told my college nurse I was faking symptoms for exam extensions. Or when you convinced Dad not to add me to his health insurance because it would enable me?" Dr. Martinez was typing something into her tablet, her expression grave. "Emma, has anyone ever discussed medical advocacy with you? Your rights as an adult patient?" Mom stepped forward, but a nurse blocked her path. "I'm her mother. I have every right to be involved in her care." "Actually," Dr. Martinez said firmly, "you don't. And given what I'm seeing here, I'm obligated to report this as medical neglect and potential abuse." "Abuse?" Mom's voice rose to a shriek. "I'm protecting her. These doctors have convinced her she's sick when she just needs to be stronger. Emma, tell them." But I couldn't speak. Years of dismissed symptoms, of being told I was weak or seeking attention, of having my medication disappear whenever Mom decided I was too dependent. It all came crashing down at once. "Mrs. Sullivan," Dr. Martinez's voice was steel, "I'm going to have to ask you to step outside. Security will escort you to the waiting area while I contact the proper authorities." "Authorities?" Mom's face went white. "You can't be serious. Emma, tell them they're overreacting. Tell them how you've always been dramatic about your health." I looked at my mother, really looked at her. The woman who taught me to doubt my own body, who'd made me feel guilty for needing medical care, who convinced me that suffering in silence was somehow noble. "No, Mom," I said quietly, "I'm done letting you tell me how I feel." As security led my protesting mother away, Dr. Martinez turned to me with genuine concern. "Emma, I'd like to document everything. Every time she's interfered with your medication, every symptom she's dismissed. This pattern of behavior, it stops today." I nodded, feeling both terrified and strangely free. For the first time, someone was seeing the whole picture, not just my medical condition, but the years of manipulation and denial that had made it so much worse. "We're going to help you," Dr. Martinez said, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. "But first, let's get your medication levels back where they need to be." As the nurse started my IV, I closed my eyes, exhausted but relieved. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew one thing for certain. Mom's control over my health was finally coming to an end. My phone buzzed again. Mom, no doubt, sending more messages about how she was just trying to help. I turned it off without reading them. There would be time to deal with her later. Right now, I needed to focus on healing, not just my body, but all the damage her help had caused over the years. The next few days in the hospital were a blur of tests, conversations with doctors, and visits from people I never expected to be involved in my medical care. A patient advocate named Diana sat with me for hours, helping me document years of medical interference. A social worker discussed restraining orders and legal options. Detective Morris from the Domestic Abuse Unit took detailed statements about every incident where Mom had tampered with my medication. Your mother's actions could have killed you, Detective Morris said, reviewing my statement. Stopping immunosuppressant medications abruptly, she's lucky you're still alive. I hadn't thought about it in those terms before. To me, it had always been just another example of Mom knowing best. But seeing it through their eyes, I began to understand how dangerous her behavior had been. My father showed up on the third day, looking older than I remembered. Emma, honey, your mother, she means well. She's just old-fashioned about medicine. Maybe we can work this out as a family? I felt the familiar pull to minimize everything, to keep the peace. But Dr. Martinez happened to be checking my vitals when he made the suggestion. Mr. Sullivan, she interrupted, your wife deliberately withheld necessary medication from your daughter. This isn't a family disagreement, it's medical abuse. Emma could have suffered organ failure. Dad's face paled. Organ failure. But Sarah said what, Dad? That I was being dramatic? That Mom was protecting me from addiction? Which excuse did she use this time? The monitors caught my rising heart rate, and a nurse appeared almost immediately. Miss Sullivan needs rest, she said firmly, ushering my father out. Later that evening, my sister Olivia visited. Unlike our parents, she looked angry, not at me, but at herself. I should have seen it, she said, gripping my hand. All those times Mom talked about how she fixed your medication issues. I thought she meant she helped you adjust doses with your doctor. I never imagined. None of us wanted to see it, I admitted. It was easier to believe her than to face what was really happening. The hospital staff had started me on a proper medication schedule, and for the first time in months, my symptoms were under control. The constant pain had subsided to a manageable level, and the fog in my brain was finally clearing. Diana, my patient advocate, helped me set up new safeguards. My medications would now be dispensed through a specialized pharmacy that required photo ID for pickup. My medical records were flagged to prevent unauthorized access, and all my doctors were notified about the situation with my mother. You're not alone in this, Diana assured me. Unfortunately, we see cases like yours more often than you'd think. Parents who don't believe in certain medications, who think they know better than doctors. The police investigation revealed more than I expected. Mom had been calling my doctor's offices for months, pretending to be me, trying to cancel prescriptions. She even attempted to access my medical records using my old ID. The pattern of interference was clearer than I'd realized. Detective Morris returned with updates. Your mother is facing serious charges, she explained. Medical neglect, interference with prescribed treatment, potential insurance fraud from the times she canceled your coverage without telling you. Will she go to jail? I asked, not sure how I felt about the possibility. That depends on several factors, but she'll definitely face consequences. More importantly, we're putting legal protections in place for you. My phone continued to fill with messages from relatives. Some supported Mom, claiming I was overreacting. Others expressed horror at what she'd done. My Aunt Susan, a nurse, was particularly vocal in my defense. I always wondered why your symptoms seemed so unstable, she told me during a visit. Sarah kept saying you were managing without all those dangerous medications, but it never sat right with me. The hospital's legal team helped me file for a protective order. Mom wouldn't be allowed to contact me or interfere with my medical care in any way. The thought of such a severe boundary both terrified and relieved me. Olivia helped me move my prescriptions to a new pharmacy and set up automatic deliveries. She won't be able to touch your medication again, my sister promised. I'll make sure of it. As my discharge date approached, Dr. Martinez sat down with me for a serious conversation. Emma, your condition is completely manageable with proper medication. The complications you've experienced, they were largely due to interrupted treatment. That stops now. She handed me a thick folder. This is your complete medical history, documented evidence of interference, and your new treatment plan. Keep copies somewhere safe. Never let anyone make you doubt your own medical needs again. Looking at that folder, proof that I wasn't crazy, wasn't seeking attention, wasn't imagining things, I felt tears well up in my eyes. Years of gaslighting and manipulation had made me doubt my own body, my own experiences. But now I had validation, protection, and most importantly, control over my own health care. You're going to be okay, Dr. Martinez said softly. But you need to stay strong. Your mother's behavior, it won't change overnight. Are you ready to maintain these boundaries? I thought about Mom, about her certainty that she knew best, about the years of damage her help had caused. Then I thought about how it felt to have my condition properly managed, to be taken seriously by medical professionals, to have my experiences validated. Yes, I said firmly, I'm ready. 6 months after my hospitalization, I sat in my new apartment reviewing a letter from the district attorney's office. Mom had accepted a plea deal, 3 years probation, mandatory counseling, and strict orders to stay away from my medical care. She wasn't going to jail, but she was facing real consequences for the first time in her life. My phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. Mom's support group leader called. Says she's still insisting she was trying to save you from medication dependency. I wasn't surprised. Mom's beliefs about my health hadn't changed, but my ability to protect myself had. The security cameras in my apartment, the new pharmacy protocols, the legal documents, everything was designed to prevent her from interfering again. My latest checkup had shown significant improvement. This is how well your body responds when you receive consistent treatment, Dr. Martinez had said, reviewing my lab results. Your inflammation markers are the lowest they've been in years. Dad was trying, in his own way, to understand. He'd attended several educational sessions about my condition and had finally stopped suggesting I make peace with Mom. I didn't protect you, he'd admitted during a recent lunch. I let her convince me she knew best, even when the evidence was right in front of me. I'm sorry, Emma. The hardest part wasn't the legal proceedings or the medical recovery. It was dealing with family members who thought I was being cruel to my mother. She's crying all the time, my cousin Beth had reported. She just wants to talk to you, to explain her side. Her side? I'd replied, you mean how she nearly caused organ failure because she didn't believe in my medication. That side. Beth hadn't brought it up again. My new job understood my situation. After my collapse, I decided to find an employer who took health issues seriously. My supervisor, Mark, had immediately added my emergency contacts to the HR system and ensured security knew about my protective order. Your health comes first, he'd said. We'll work around your medical appointments, no questions asked. The support group Diana had recommended was helping too. Meeting other people who dealt with medical interference from family members made me feel less alone. Sarah, another member, had gone through something similar with her father. They think they know better than doctors, she'd said during one session. But really, they just can't handle not being in control. 1 year after the incident, I received an unexpected call from my mother's counselor. Your mother has requested a mediated session, she explained. She's been working on understanding the impact of her actions. Would you be willing to participate? I discussed it with my own therapist, Dr. Chen, who had helped me work through the trauma of years of medical gaslighting. You're stronger now, she reminded me. You can set the terms for any interaction. The question is, what do you want? The mediated session was set for neutral ground, the counselor's office. Mom looked smaller somehow, less intimidating than I remembered. The year of mandatory therapy had left its mark. Emma, she began, her voice shaking. I've been learning about medical abuse. About how what I did wasn't help. It was control. I waited, watching her struggle with words that clearly came from therapy sessions. I still don't understand all your medical needs, she continued, but I'm trying to accept that I don't have to understand to respect them. It wasn't a complete transformation. I could still see the doubt in her eyes when she looked at my medication bag. But it was something. I need you to understand, I said firmly, that I will never let you near my medical care again. Ever. If you want any relationship with me, those are the terms. She nodded, tears sliding down her face. Your counselor says I have to accept your boundaries. That loving you means respecting your autonomy. The session wasn't a miracle cure for our relationship, But it was a start. Mom would never fully understand my condition, but she was learning to stay in her lane. Today, 2 years later, I'm thriving. My condition is stable, managed by medication that nobody can take away. The protective orders have expired, but the boundaries remain firm. Mom and I have careful, limited contact, always in public places, never involving my healthcare. Olivia had her first baby last month. At the hospital, Mom started to make a comment about the medication the baby was prescribed. Before I could say anything, Dad touched her arm. "Sarah," he said quietly, "that's between the doctors and Olivia." Mom closed her mouth, nodded, and changed the subject. It was a small moment, but it showed how much had changed. The mother who once flushed my medication down the toilet was learning to keep her medical opinions to herself. Dr. Martinez still checks in occasionally. "You're one of our success stories," she told me during my last appointment, "not just medically, but in taking control of your own care." Looking at my life now, stable health, strong boundaries, proper medical care, I realize that sometimes the best treatment isn't just medication. Sometimes it's learning to stand up to the people who claim to know better than you do about your own body. My medical ID bracelet reads, "No unauthorized medication changes." It's not just a medical alert. It's a reminder that I am the only one who gets to make decisions about my health. And that's a prescription I'll never let anyone take away from me again.